He'll get to the Super Bowl eventually, right? Well, last year we go to 2017. The Panthers, they get all the way to the NFC Championship game in Atlanta. And guys, they get there, and when you get to Atlanta, you're thinking the Packers are on this mysterious run, and that they're going to find a way to beat the Falcons. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers had just beaten the Cowboys in such miraculous fashion with the catch to Jared Cook on the sidelines. But they get to Atlanta, and it's not their year again. Peppers comes up short from the Super Bowl.
So true.
Which leads to this offseason. The Panthers wanted a veteran leader for their defensive line. The Panthers wanted to go back to where it all began, and Julius Peppers wanted to go where it started. This wasn't some ceremonial free agent signing. Let's retire as a Panther. No. The greatest defensive player in Panthers history still had football left. This is a guy who was drafted after David Carr, not Derek, but David Carr, and was drafted right before Joey Harrington in the NFL draft. This season, 2017, very quietly, Julius Peppers had 9 sacks at the age of 37. 9 sacks at the age of 37. So here we are on the precipice of another playoff run. He's 37 years old. He's 0-1 in Super Bowls. He's 0-4 in his last 4 NFC Championship games.
Crazy.
He's gone to 4 NFC Championship games since the Super Bowl, and he's lost all 4 of them. He's 4th all-time on the NFL sacks career list. He's a 3-time first-team All-Pro, and he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer whenever he decides to hang him up. But there's one thing missing. One thing missing, and it's that ring. My underappreciated storyline for this January is the playoff run that Julius Peppers is about to embark on. It starts Sunday against the Saints in New Orleans. This might be the last shot for Julius, but the last 4 times they got all the way to the NFC Championship game, they couldn't get to that next step. Julius Peppers, an original Carolina Panther. I know he wasn't on the first team, but I think of the Panthers, I think of Steve Smith, and I think of Julius Peppers.
Yeah, that's right.
He's back there in Carolina. Go get it. Go get it, Pep.
That's what's up. That's good.
Unfinished business.
That's my dog right there.
And I think I speak for at least the 3 guys at the table in our 30s. We need those guys in their late 30s still playing. We got Brady in his 40s, Vinatieri, Terrence Newman. There's only a few left who are older than us. And we
9 sacks.
Yeah, shout out to Pep, man.
Unbelievable. I'd love to see that happen, too.
Dude.
My underappreciated storyline pertains to the Buffalo Bills and their fans. I learned to fall in love with the Bills fans years ago, not because of the table jumping and all the parking lot stuff. I used to work in radio, and our show had a really big affiliate in Buffalo. And there was always a lot of Bills callers. And early on when I started in radio, I would answer calls. And they were always so excited, and the excitement was so contagious. And at the end of the year, it was always so tragic. They would just stop calling. And I really felt like I almost empathized with them for some things that I'd been through. So I'm really having a good week in that regard with what's happened to them going to the playoffs. And I just think of all those quarterbacks they've gone through. Brian Brom and Matt Castle and Trent Edwards and Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jeff Toole. All those guys who couldn't get them to the playoffs. Andy Dalton was the one who did. And let's just one more time with feeling watch Dalton to Boyd as I believe it appeared to Bills fans in Western New York.
It's 4th down. The Bengals need 12 yards to keep this drive alive. Ravens trying to end it here. 4th down. Dalton steps up. Dalton throws. It's complete. Caught by Boyd. Tyler Boyd. Touchdown. Remarkable. The Cincinnati Bengals have stunned this crowd.
Black and white, timeless music. That shot of John Harbaugh, that's usually what Bills fans are doing. It's the opposite. And we talked about this earlier in the show. It's one thing to be excited. And it's one thing to say, hey, Andy Dalton is our guy, haha. They're actually donating to Andy's foundation, the AJD Foundation, which raises money for medical bills for kids and their families who can't afford them. Last check, guys, it's $170,000. Not just, it's not a joke. 7,000 Bills fans. And honestly, at the new year, at a time when you're trying to pinch pennies and you're redoing your budget for the year, they're still throwing money to him, and not in a funny way. It's actually making a difference. It's not just the money, though, because as great as this is, if you go around the town of Buffalo, you would not believe the outpouring of support and the jokes and everything for Andy Dalton. Let's start. Just look at some of this on Twitter they've come up with. Now, that you are looking at the Seneca Greenhouse and Garden Shop in West Seneca. Thank you, Andy Dalton. They changed the sign. It's all over the place. Show me the next one, guys. What do we have next? Now, guys, you might remember Northtown Automotive, the official automotive dealer of the Bills and Sabres, is sending wings to Andy Dalton, Duff's famous wings, 25 medium, 25 barbecue, right down the middle.
I love football.
Yes, they did. Now look at this. This guy repurposed his old Fitzmagic jersey to make a Dalton jersey. That's right. He's celebrating Andy Dalton in Buffalo. And this is one of my favorite ones. There is actually a street called Dalton Drive. Dalton Drive in Tonawanda, 30 miles from New Era Field, and they've lit the lights there on Dalton Drive in honor of Andy Dalton. It's become this place now. You go and visit and take a picture in front of.
Lights on.
Dalton Drive. And lastly, guys, you would not believe those are all real. And so is this. I'm breaking news right here. Outside the stadium, show what they have done. There is now a bronze statue of Andy Dalton outside of the stadium, and he deserves it. 30 minutes from Dalton Drive. It is truly a great thing. I'm not sure exactly how excited at this juncture of his career Cincinnati is about Andy Dalton, but Buffalo loves him. He might as well be their native son, and they're doing it with their pocketbook, their signs, their wings, everything, and I'm so happy for him. Now go get a win in the playoffs.
So, excuse me for not grasping this. How did this initially start? I'm talking about from the time they upset the Ravens. Like,
yes.
How did this? Did somebody from Buffalo start giving money? Did he?
Social
did he
media,
call
man.
for it?
Everyone said it started kind of as a joke. Does Andy Dalton, we should do something for him. Then they started donating and donating, and now it's like Buffalo has become Bengals town,
They
right?
got $10,000.
It's crazy.
Everyone is
So they sparked it.
Yes.
Buffalo sparked it, not Andy.
Yes, Buffalo. It is all Bengals right now.
I think
The
they got
Goo Goo
to-
Dolls are changing little black balloon to little red balloon for Andy Dalton's hair. They're re-recording it.
$10,000. I think Andy.
Baby's red balloon.
Andy came out and thanked everyone when it
Yeah,
got
he did
to
a
about
video, right?
$10,000. No, like way early in it. Like, wow, I really appreciate it. Then now it went from that.
It's amazing.
To 170 something. You said
170,000 as of
And
this
growing?
morning. Yes, and
He just surpassed Dominic Hasek as the most favored Buffalo athlete of all time. Andy Dalton.
I'm happy for him. Huge throw.
amazing.
Congratulations.
Amazing,
Good job, Kevin.
underappreciated. I wonder if you are a Jacksonville Jags fan watching our show, though. If you're just like, hey.
Enough.
Hey, you four, we're in the playoffs too.
Yeah.
We haven't been there in a long time either. Since when?
They've been since 2007.
They haven't won the division since 1999.
That's why that game is so cool, right?
You know what I'm saying? It's like we're giving a lot.
We show love to Jacksonville
I don't know. I feel
all the
like this week, I feel like that's not true. I feel like this week it's all about.
It's Buffalo's
the Bills.
week, and they've earned it. 1999.
But we should talk about the Jaguars because, in all honesty, the Bills thing was awesome.
How about when he hit Boyd, and then have you seen the video when they're in the stadium?
It's an impromptu Mount
The Bills in the locker room went